Imagine a world where the American dream feels like a distant mirage. A world where hard work doesn't always pay off. Where family ties are both a lifeline and a chain, and where the culture you're born into shapes your destiny in ways you can't escape. This is the world of Hillbilly Elegy, a raw, unflinching memoir by J.D. Vance that takes us deep into the heart of America's working-class crisis. Today, we're diving into this powerful story, a tale of resilience, struggle, and the complex ties that bind us to our roots. Whether you're familiar with the book or hearing about it for the first time, this video will take you on a journey through the hills of Appalachia, into the heart of a family, and across the divides of a nation. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's explore Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. To understand J.D. Vance's story, we need to start with the setting. Appalachia, a region that stretches across the eastern United States, from Mississippi to New York. It's a place of breathtaking natural beauty, but also of deep economic hardship. For generations, Appalachia has been home to the hillbillies, a term that's often used as a stereotype, but for Vance, it's a badge of identity. These are people who value loyalty, toughness, and family above all else. But they're also people who've been left behind by the modern economy, trapped in cycles of poverty, addiction, and despair. Vance's family hails from Jackson, Kentucky, a small town in the heart of Appalachia. But like many hillbillies, they eventually migrated north to Ohio in search of better opportunities. This migration is a key part of the story, because it highlights the tension between the old world and the new, between the values of Appalachia and the challenges of adapting to a changing America. Vance's memoir isn't just a personal story. It's a window into a culture in crisis. It's about what happens when the American dream feels out of reach, and when the very traits that once helped a community survive, like fierce independence and distrust of outsiders, become obstacles to progress. At the heart of Hillbilly Elegy is Vance's family, a cast of characters who are as flawed as they are unforgettable. Let's start with Mama and Pawpaw, Vance's grandparents. Mama is the matriarch, a tough, no-nonsense woman who's not afraid to wield a gun or a curse word. Pawpaw, on the other hand, is a hard-drinking, hard-working man who loves his family but struggles with his own demons. Together, they provide a stable anchor for young J.D., especially when his own parents fall short. And fall short they do. Vance's mother, Bev, is a central figure in the memoir. A woman whose life is marked by addiction, failed relationships, and instability. Her struggles with substance abuse and her turbulent love life create a chaotic environment for J.D. and his sister, Lindsay. But here's the thing. Vance doesn't paint his family as villains. Instead, he shows us their humanity, their love, their flaws, and their resilience. This is a family that fights, that fails, but that also endures. One of the most poignant moments in the book is when Vance describes how Mama and Pawpaw stepped in to raise him during his mother's lowest points. It's a testament to the power of family, even in the midst of dysfunction. But it's also a reminder of the toll that such instability takes on a child. Growing up, J.D. Vance's life was anything but easy. He moved constantly, shuffled between homes as his mother's relationships fell apart. He witnessed domestic violence, dealt with the fallout of his mother's addiction, and struggled to find a sense of stability. School was no refuge. Vance describes himself as a bad kid, angry, rebellious, and disengaged. He was the kind of student who might have slipped through the cracks, destined for the same cycles of poverty and addiction that trapped so many in his community. But here's where the story takes a turn. Despite the chaos, Vance had one thing going for him: his grandparents. Mama, in particular, became his rock. She pushed him to do better, to be better. She believed in him, even when he didn't believe in himself. One of the most powerful themes in Hillbilly Elegy is the idea of agency, the power to choose your own path, even when the odds are stacked against you. For Vance, that meant making a conscious decision to break free from the cycles that had trapped so many in his family. It wasn't easy. It meant working harder than his peers, seeking out mentors, and constantly pushing himself to rise above his circumstances. But slowly, surely, he began to see a way out. The turning point in Vance's life came when he joined the Marines. This wasn't just a career choice. It was a transformative experience. The Marines taught him discipline, resilience, and the value of hard work. It gave him a sense of purpose and direction that he'd been missing. After the Marines, Vance went on to study at Ohio State University and then to Yale Law School, an achievement that seemed almost unimaginable given his upbringing. But even as he climbed the ladder of success, he couldn't escape the pull of his roots. Vance's time at Yale is particularly fascinating because it highlights the cultural divide between his working-class background and the elite world he was now entering. He describes feeling like an outsider, struggling to navigate the unspoken rules of a world that felt alien to him. But here's the thing, Vance didn't reject his roots. Instead, he grappled with them, trying to reconcile the values of his hillbilly upbringing with the opportunities of his new life. This tension is at the heart of Hillbilly Elegy, and it's what makes the book so compelling. While Hillbilly Elegy is deeply personal, it's also a broader commentary on the struggles of America's working class. Vance doesn't shy away from addressing the systemic issues that contribute to the crisis, issues like economic decline, lack of opportunity, and the erosion of community. But he also challenges his own community to take responsibility for their choices. He argues that while external factors play a role, the hillbilly culture itself can be self-destructive, whether it's the glorification of toughness, the distrust of education, or the tendency to blame others for personal failures. This isn't an easy message to hear, but it's an important one. Vance's story is a call to action, a reminder that while we can't always control our circumstances, we can control how we respond to them. So, what can we take away from Hillbilly Elegy? At its core, this is a story about resilience, about the power of family, and about the importance of taking ownership of your life. It's a reminder that while the American dream may be elusive, it's not out of reach, if we're willing to fight for it. But it's also a call for empathy. Vance's story challenges us to look beyond stereotypes and to understand the complex realities of those who feel left behind. It's a reminder that behind every statistic, there's a human story, a story of struggle, of hope, and of resilience. As we close this chapter, I want to leave you with a question. What does it mean to rise above your circumstances? And how can we, as a society, thank you for joining me on this journey through Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the books that shape our world.